The Virginia 500 on Fox is brought to you by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. UPS delivers a chance to win 4 tickets to the Daytona 500. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword UPS Racing.
I like that truck. Flames on it. Good-looking truck.
Jimmy Johnson is flying. He just took Tony Stewart for 4th place as Stewart bounced off the curbing here, the inside curbing.
But I'm going to tell you, unless his car just really comes in, Darrell and I were talking at break between each other, I don't think Stewart's car is as good this run as it was that first run.
I think they may have adjusted on it a little bit, Larry. They probably had to, maybe went the wrong way. They'll go back the other way on the next round of pit stops. Because he's definitely loose off of 2 now. That's where he's losing all his time.
Jimmy Spencer and Kenny Schrader are both catching Tony Stewart. Jeff Gordon still with a 1.5-second lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now 2nd. Rusty Wallace 3rd. Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart.
Talking about that 7 car that's closing in a hurry. You know, they were really good at Bristol. And I tell you, this after I run yesterday, I said after one time, I thought, this is like being at Bristol with no banking. and that car was really good at Bristol, coming up off the turn on the concrete. And that's what he's doing today. He's really accelerating hard up off the turns, straight.
2 drag strips and 2 U-turns. That's Martinsville Speedway. Jimmy Spencer has caught Tony Stewart, Matt.
Spencer has a modified trophy. Would like to add a Winston Cup trophy. Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, has been on the radio. It's like a recording. He just says tire management. Roll it in, throttle off. That's what they keep yelling to Spencer on the radio. In fact, when he was working on the 49 earlier, Fat Boy, his spotter, said, I see you now. Remember, easy. That's exactly what he's doing. He's just rolling the car through the corners really well. Spencer thinks the track is coming to him.
Spencer around the outside of Stewart. And Darrell, this track has the neatest tradition of trophies of anywhere we go.
Boy, those grandfather clocks, you take great pride in hauling one of those bad boys home. It's the only place I know of that's ever had a trophy like that. And the thing about it is, I've got the very first one ever won, and it's still working just fine.
So do you have 11 grandfather clocks at home since you won here 11 times?
I've spread them around. I've got 6 of them. I shared the wealth.
Now, problems on our points leader, Matt Kenseth. Steve, he's back in 36th position.
Boy, you said that right, Mike. He's led the points for the last 5 races in a row. But on that last pit stop, they took a spring rubber out of the right rear. That's a lengthy adjustment. They made a track bar adjustment. Well, as Darrell mentioned a moment ago, some guys have adjusted too much. Now Matt Kenseth said he can't get on the gas when he's in between the turns, can't get back on that throttle.
Well, what that tells me, like a lot of people, he's fighting loose off. If they soften that right rear spring, don't sound like they're quite where they need to be.
So one of the problems you have is you want to run really low here, but that curve, watch Tony Stewart right here. He hits that curve. Watch the car. It just causes, it upsets the car so badly. A lot of guys, instead of running a solid link on the sway bar, will actually run a chain so that it doesn't upset the car quite so much. See the curve? That right there, when you run over it, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but it'll spin you out if you're not careful.
Well, that's a standard parking lot curve. It's, what, 3-4 inches tall, is it?
It feels like it's 3 or 4 feet tall when you get up on top of it.
And that's actually what happened to a lot of guys in qualifying that had good race cars in practice. They clipped that curve and killed their qualifying lap.
Matt?
Mike, Tony Stewart's dropped back to 6th. The reason they over-adjusted on that pit stop on lap 80, they made a wedge and air pressure adjustment. The car has now gone from loose to tight.
And I tell you that, Matt, we talked earlier about this racetrack being a concrete corner. Something else that happens. This racetrack constantly changes. Rubber starts building up in those corners. It's a little early for that yet, but you have to constantly adjust that race car, even if you have a good car.
Yeah, the thing about concrete, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago at Bristol. We don't put, on an asphalt track, you put rubber into the track, and it gets sticky and grippy. Concrete doesn't have the pores so hard, you end up building up rubber on top of the racetrack.
Darrell and Larry, I was sitting there watching, and one of the guys that qualified really well here out of the Hendrick group was Joe Nemechek in the 25 car. And right now, he's really struggling, like you were saying. I'm watching him here from the bumper cam on Michael Waltrip's car, and he's really having a hard time, I think, getting his car to rotate in the middle of the corner and get off that corner. Like he's spinning the rear tires an awful lot, but he was really, really fast. And he just couldn't quite get off the corner to make the move. He can get turns, but he can't get to him. They'll get by him. And again, he's one of the cars that's falling back into the clutches of his teammate, Jeff Gordon, who's getting ready to come around and lap him.
Well, just, Jeff, you know this. You're down to 55 miles an hour in the middle of the corner. And you're going to turn that race car, Matt, 800 horsepower, and try to get up to 120 mile an hour down at the end of these short straightaways. It's pretty hard to hook it all up at one time.
I don't think he's got his egg. I don't think he's got his egg, Darrell. He's not driving like an egg under his throttle. I know Kevin Harvick right now, he's got it figured out, started back here in 29th, and he's already moved up there to the top 10, running 10th place right now.
Caution is out. Caution's out.
Ricky Rudd has spun at turn 4.
Dale Jr. is going to beat the 24 car back to the line. Now, he let him go. Now, that would have been a violation of the gentleman's agreement.
But not of the rule.
Not of the rule. But the gentleman's agreement was meant for when we're all lined up racing that the guy running 8th or 9th doesn't jump out and pass everybody coming back to the line. That's what the intent was. But as far as keeping a car down, that was up to whoever wanted to do that.
Let's show you what happened. Gordon going way around Ricky Rudd's car, and here they come. And
he realized, you know, that's the gentleman's agreement.
Is you don't race the leader to the line.
Well, not when he's been pushed out of line or whatever. You're taking advantage of him, and there's no reason to.
And I tell you what, all our leaders on pit road, this shows me just how bad this racetrack is, how slick it is. Everybody's pitting, Jeannie.
Yes, that includes the 29 car of Kevin Harvick, looking for more forward bite. Last time the car starting to come in, just air pressure adjustments this time, and fuel. Dick?
Rusty Wallace has run in the top 5 all day. He has called the shots on this pit stop. 4 tires, no changes. Matt?
And the 7 car has taken his gas can, dragged it down pit road. That will be a violation. The can is still at the end. A wedge adjustment on the 24. Jeff Gordon still needed help with a drive-off. Going to be a costly mistake for Spencer.
And I think what happened, those guys were going to change just 2 right side tires. The guys changed tires quicker than the guy got the fuel in and got the can out. He came out with a lead, but he's going to have to come back in, Matt.
Larry Mack, that was exactly the game plan. They were going to do a 2-tire change on that stop.
And there you see it.
Now that's the overflow vent where a lot of that fuel is coming from, so that as that can is held upside down, fuel goes in the car. It's replaced by air from that overflow.
But the problem is, Mike, he came in running 5th, and now with 27 cars on the lead lap, he's going to have to restart this thing in 27th. He might as well come in and get his 2 left side tires to go with those rights now. And the rule is you can't leave the pit box with equipment.
Is it end of the longest line, or is it a lap?
Well, it should be the end of the longest line after a caution.
Okay. Ricky Rudd and Matt Kenseth get together here, Darrell. Have a look.
Going off in the corner here. As we well know, Kenseth is struggling. Ricky just drives in too hard underneath of him and slides up into him, spins him out. Spins himself out. Ricky's trying to stay off of him. Got in too hard, got on the brakes, sent himself around.
Pretty nice save by Kenseth, though. Ricky hit him pretty hard.
Yes, he did.
We're under caution for the 2nd time today at Martinsville, Virginia.